Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, the proposed northern prison near Westbury will be moved away from the town in a bid to win over the community. Opponents say it's still too early to decide if the relocation will be enough, while Labor wants more detail.
He's locked in on the plan.
I want to be absolutely clear, we are going to build a prison.
But his government has been forced to budge on the blueprints.
A new site has now been identified for the Northern Regional Prison.
An industrial site on the edge of Westbury was earmarked for the $270 million proposal. The prison will now be built on Crown land, 5 kilometres away from the township.
There are very few people that live in the vicinity of this particular location. In effect, it is a bush block. It'll provide the opportunity for good screening.
And the government hopes less opposition. The old location was the biggest sticking point, according to a social and economic impact study released today. The announcement in September was met with protests and rallies. Residents against the prison met today but want to consult with their own members before making up their minds. They're astounded the government kept the other option a secret.
It's been a dog's breakfast, a comedy of errors, and finally the government, 9 months later, have come to their senses.
Not everyone's seeing it as a win to have government say, look, sorry we didn't consult you last time and you didn't want the prison there, we'll just bump it a bit further down the road.
Meander Valley Council is hopeful the plan will be a working compromise.
We're happy that the state have listened to the community. They've taken into account the survey results. They've taken into account the angst from a lot of the members of the Westbury area and reconsidered the site. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's official unemployment rate is the second lowest in the country, despite 22,000 job losses since the pandemic was declared. JobKeeper has kept many officially in work, lowering the figure. As local businesses continue to struggle, there's ongoing worries about government subsidies of a different kind.
It has sweeping views of the HUON Valley, but the only visitors this cabin has seen recently are the local paddy melons. HUON bush retreats closed, but their outgoings remained steady.
What better place to be isolating? Being stuck here for 2 months, it was heaven. But financially, it's just been devastating.
Paul applied for a $15,000 hardship grant from the government, but instead received a smaller $4,000, which he says isn't enough to help him get by, calling for a review into how grants were allocated.
The $4,000 doesn't even cover the amount of money that the government has taken from us. So for rates, land tax, inspections, licences, all those sorts of things.
So that process is ongoing at the moment. I will contact those individual applicants to make sure that they have a full understanding of what's happening with their application.
As many businesses struggle, research commissioned by the Australian Tourism Industry Council suggests heavy job losses in Tasmania's sector.
51 jobs a day, around about a $4 million hit to your gross state product.
The official unemployment figures released by the ABS today, showing since restrictions started to bite in February, the number of Tasmanians in employment has dropped by 22,000. And while our overall unemployment rate has risen since February, Tasmania is actually below the national average and has the equal second lowest unemployment rate.
The unemployment rate is absolutely masked by JobKeeper and a payment that's supporting thousands of workers across Tasmania at the moment. It's been a critical wage subsidy.
The headline rate is better than the national rate. Obviously, there are still a lot of Tasmanians that have lost their jobs. As we know that we need to get and provide opportunity for people in terms of work moving forward.
Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
The Royal Hobart Hospital has ticked off a long-awaited milestone, performing the first surgery inside the new K block. It was a moment years in the making for the trouble-plagued redevelopment, with staff now excited to finally work in the state-of-the-art surgical theatres.
Showing off an unusual memento.
How are you feeling now?
Oh, awesome. This certificate handed to Linda today, the first patient to be operated on in the Royal Hobart Hospital's new K block.
I just expected to go into the older part of the hospital, I guess, but Yeah, it was a bit of a blowout when I got here and thought, oh, wow.
Her foot surgery, the first performed in these state-of-the-art theatres, dedicated to orthopaedic trauma and neurosurgery. It's a milestone years in the making.
We've done a lot of simulation, so people have had the opportunity to work within the suite and work with the equipment in sort of quite stressful situations.
Staff involved in the first surgeries here say it is the space in these theatres which is the most beneficial change, as well as this new visual equipment which allows video to be streamed in real time.
We also have an operative camera within the actual operating theatre light. Those images can be streamed to any of the devices in the theatre.
Imaging like X-rays and CT scans also streamed live for all in the room to see, also available for medical students to watch and learn. And if all goes to plan, the hospital's new wing is now only months away from being fully operational.
There are a few small areas still to go, but planning is significantly underway, so we're expecting within the next couple of months to all services to be delivered here.
Michelle Wisbey, 7 Tasmania News.
The Tasmanian coroner is calling for all airstrips to be fitted with windsocks following a tragic plane crash in the state's northeast. Sandra Southwell was killed in January 2018 when her partner and pilot Barry Branston attempted to land at Tomahawk. The coroner found the experienced pilot approached the airstrip in a tailwind after he misunderstood the wind direction. He said a windsock would have likely prevented the tragedy. The Civil Aviation Safety Authority says it's too early to comment on the recommendation, but says it will carefully review the report. Police have suspended the search for a missing man in the Loongarna area in northwest Tasmania. Crews have been scouring bushland for Scott Murphy, who was last seen on Saturday. Police say after consultation with experts, they consider it extremely unlikely he survived in the environment. The investigation is still considered active and anyone with information can contact Crime Stoppers. The state-of-the-art underwater vehicle developed here in Tasmania has helped unearth a major discovery in the Antarctic. Researchers found a deep underwater seabed which could hold the key to learning why the ice is vanishing and sea levels are rising.
For years, scientists have asked the question, why is the ice melting? Now this new underwater vehicle may have unlocked the answer.
There are very few people who have done this. The list is growing, but growing very slowly.
The University of Tasmania's AUV plunged into the Antarctic ice and discovered a seafloor 1,200 metres below, running under Swordsdale.
You can take these basically free-swimming, untethered robots and send them into very far-off, remote, hard-to-reach places, such as underneath ice shelves.
But it's feared warm water could trickle into the trough, causing melting. Researchers say ocean-driven thawing at the base of the shelves has led to a doubling in ice loss at some glaciers in the last 30 years. However, this latest world-leading research trip has been the most comprehensive yet.
Ice shelves are difficult environments to research. They're dangerous and crevassed. What we really need is a robotic solution, and an AUV is one way to do this.
Thanks to the help of the revolutionary torpedo-like robot, scientists say they now have a more complete understanding of the issues causing ice shelf melting.
There's really no other way to gather these types of data sets.
This capability is, for us, it's a game changer.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
There's welcome news tonight for keen swimmers, with all beaches along the River Derwent being declared safe to swim in this year's Beach Watch report. Each of the 21 beaches received either a good or fair water quality rating after weekly monitoring for contaminants, including faecal matter.
Monitoring of water quality at our beaches and bays, some 43 sites around the Derwent estuary, and we're pleased to announce that we've had a really excellent season.
Well, it is very important because in some respects the dangers in the ocean are the ones that you can't see.
Goers are being cautioned about swimming near stormwater pipes after heavy rains in case of potential contamination. New school intake maps have been released for students starting next year. The maps are used to work out which school students can enrol in depending on where they live. The government says the updated areas were designed to better align with school capacities, transport routes and property boundaries. Students will not be impacted if they've started schooling before 2021 or if a sibling is already attending the school. Whether Tasmania's brightest footy hopefuls will have the chance to compete against the nation's best this year remains uncertain. The announcement of the return of the NAB League has been met with logistical interstate travel challenges for the Tasmania Devils. The girls' competition is 3 rounds in, they're none from 2, while the boys have yet to hit the field this season. The Tasmanian Tigers women's side will have an international flair at the top of its batting order next season, signing former New Zealand star Rachel Priest. The aggressive top-order batter has retired from the top level after playing 162 matches for the Kiwis. She's now looking forward to a new challenge with Tasmania.
I just want to enjoy my cricket and come down here and be a positive impact for this team.
It comes days after the 35-year-old was omitted from New Zealand's central contracts list. Some of the nation's best motocross riders are bound for Wynyard as part of the Australian Off-Road Championship. Organisers announcing they will push ahead with plans for Tasmania to host the final rounds of the event in October. That's despite no clarity from the state government on when borders will reopen.
Good evening. Lyowini, Ross and Butler's Gorge didn't disappoint with a -6 overnight. Hobart a high of just 9 today, Launceston 11, Burnie 14, Devonport 13, 16 at Flinders Island, the state's highest temperature. Maximum sat between 2 and 7 below average. King Island and Friendly Beaches 15, Strawn, Smithton and St Helens 14, Low Head 13, Grove 7 after -3 overnight, Ooze a top of 4 after dropping to -4 early. High cloud over the state today with a patch of low-level cover over the north and west. Cloud approaching Tasmania is the next cold front, as another has cloud pushing over Western Australia, some low cloud over coastal Victoria and New South Wales. The low and front move closer to us tomorrow, reaching the northwest by evening. Surface troughs dominate the mainland, a high to the west. Winds continuing north-northeasterly at 15 to 25 knots, but reaching 30 knots over the west early, lighter over the south and east. We have a strong wind warning that's for waters between Southeast Cape and Sandy Cape. Hobart, a cloudy day tomorrow, 13 the top, a cool one for Huonville, a morning frost and 13 the maximum, 14 for Campania. Launceston a high of 15 and cloudy, Devonport a shower or 2 and 15 degrees, Georgetown cloudy and 15 as well. 15-2 for Burnie with a shower or 2, cloudy for Strawn, 16 the top and a shower for Wynyard. And for St Helens, partly cloudy and 15. 15 for Swansea, bit of cloud for Port Arthur as well and 13 the maximum. Now for Saturday, showers over the west and north extending statewide in the early afternoon. Possible thunderstorms for the northwest. Showers into Sunday but easing from the north during the day. And on Monday, showers again tending to rain at times over the south and east. Partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow. Showers developing for Adelaide. Late showers in Melbourne. Morning fog and frost for Canberra. Sydney 19 and a shower for Brisbane. It's partly cloudy around the state at the moment, 5 degrees in Hobart. The cold continues. Launceston 9 at the moment, 8 degrees in Devonport. Kim, that wraps up the weather.
That's your news for now. Have a great night. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.